My name is Deborah Franzik. This is my husband, Gordon. And we come to you today to tell our story. The abortions, first off, that I had were not with Gordon. He was not the father. And he had 2 abortions that were not with me. I just wanted to let you guys know that I had just moved to the D.C. area with my husband, my ex-husband now. And we separated. And when we separated, we continued to have sex, and I became pregnant. When I went to talk with him, he insisted that we have an abortion. It wasn't anything I wanted to do. I felt very alone. There was no support system here. And I had a 5-year-old child with my ex-husband. And I was a single parent already, and working and struggling financially in D.C. My ex-husband took me to an abortion clinic, a really bad abortion clinic here in the District of Columbia. I don't know if it still exists. But he dropped me off, and I went up some long, dark stairs by myself. When I went up those stairs, I went into a really small clinic, a dirty clinic. I was afraid. I could hear people having abortions in the room next to me. They called us in one at a time. When I went in, I laid on the table, and I had tears coming down my cheeks. The abortionist became very angry, and he yelled at me, and he said, "You know, why are you crying? You wanted this abortion." He was very rough, and he was angry, and he gave me nothing for pain. He stopped in the procedure 3 times to take phone calls concerning his car repairs. They took me to a little room that had camping cots in it. I laid at that camping cot, and I felt totally empty, totally drained. I felt like the life of my baby and my life had been sucked out at the same time. I felt like I couldn't believe what I had done. And my heart was shattered into a million pieces, and I didn't know how to put it back together. I felt even then extreme guilt and self-condemnation. I felt shame. When the father of the baby picked me up, I hated him. I developed an infection after that and had to go to the hospital and be admitted and have a D&C. As time went on, I felt suicidal and depressed. I didn't like myself. I avoided baby showers and babies. I didn't feel comfortable with babies. And I had a 5-year-old son. I had trouble with relationships, with men in particular. I became promiscuous. I began to drink alcohol and do drugs. My bonding with my children, because I have 2 children now, 2 with Gordon, 2 beautiful children. It was affected. And I think that, you know, at times I was overprotected and protective, and at other times I was distant. And I didn't ever want to hear about the word abortion. I avoided it. Fortunately, you know, I met Gordon, and neither of us knew Christ at that time. And he loved me, and I remember the first time he told me that I was so good. And I cried because I thought I was so bad. We had 2 children, and I was afraid through the whole pregnancies that God would take those children from me. He gave us 2 beautiful, healthy children. We accepted Christ in 1992, and he began to address the wounds that I had in my heart concerning abortion. I spent many hours grieving over my children. Also worried about what people in church would think about me if they knew. But I did reach out for help from others, despite the fact that I did fear condemnation and rejection. And my husband and I attended a Rachel's Vineyard retreat. During all this, I found the love of Christ in my heart as well as in my head. And after 20 years of pain, self-condemnation, fear, shame, and regret, I was able to receive God's forgiveness and forgive myself. I want to see every man and woman who has experienced the shame of abortion be healed like God has healed me. I also want to say that abortion is not the solution. It does not help. It hurts men and women, and it kills children. And that is why I'm silent no more.
My name is Gordon Franzik. While I obviously did not experience an abortion procedure myself, I was hurt by abortion. I fathered 2 babies that were aborted. For a long time I said, it's in the past. I'm over it. It's really a woman's issue. Only in hindsight can I now see that I was caught in the eddy currents of the plunge, and I was sorely affected by abortion in the following 2 main ways. First, I was emotionally bankrupt. Out of self-preservation, all emotions were suppressed except the reactive emotion of anger. It took a long time for me to understand that emotions are God's gift. They're meant to be a communicative gift, to be used to fulfill relationships. And anger is mostly useful to highlight problem areas. Second, I lost the opportunity to be a real husband and father. The easy, I'll support whatever you want to do, was a cop-out for me. I know now that all she really wanted was for me to be her protector and hero, to stand up for what was the real desire of her heart and make it happen, and to be the hero for those little babies, my lost children. My heart had room for them, but my mind couldn't find the way. Abortion cut a path for the river of my life that was hard to overcome. I wanted to allow her to make the tough decisions, and I would just go along with it and just bring home an income. I could avoid the responsibility, and she could have the resentment. And the children would learn that Daddy is not the go-to guy in times of trouble. Out of the workplace, I felt frustrated and unfulfilled, giving more opportunity for anger, but caught in the eddy. I couldn't see why or what to do about it. Abortion does hurt men. It hurt me, and it hurt my family. But there was help for me through Rachel's Vineyard, and there is help for other men who are suffering the pain of abortion, including those maybe who are still anesthetized, and the scales may not have fallen from their eyes. But if you're one of them, get help. Become the man, the husband, the father that God intended, because your loved ones are counting on you. I tell you that silence is the voice of death, but we shall be silent no more. And I'm here to encourage all you men, including my brothers that stand here behind me. God loves you and wants you and encourages you to become who you are meant to be. Stand up for the women and your babies.